In our culture, especially in a business culture, it's always, if we win, the other guy loses, You can't win and me win too. That's not possible, But the new thinking is, no, we both have to win. It's the only way it's going to work.
What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to my Funky Brain podcast. And my name is Dennis, and this is my Funky Brain, and this is my peaceful meditating dog. And maybe we can come up with a name for that later. And so I'm really excited today. I have an Emmy award-winning director here on the Funky Brain podcast for channels such as PBS, HBO. And his name is John Biffar, and he has a new project that he's going to talk about called PeaceVision that I love the concept of, and I can't wait to hear more about it. John, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to name a dog. I think the obvious name would be Peace Dog.
Peace Dog? Like Peace Dog, only Peace Dog? Or
Peace Dog.
Somebody had another one, the Doggy Llama, somebody said a couple weeks ago.
That's probably much better. Mine was much more self-serving for, shamelessly plugging our new network, PeaceVision.com.
Yeah, so tell us.
Now a new dog is its mascot, so that's great.
The Doggy Llama. Yeah, I love it.
That's good.
So tell us more about PeaceVision. Like, when I was watching the trailer, and I'll share some of this stuff with you guys that are watching, but basically what PeaceVision is from my understanding, and you can expound on this a little bit more, but it's about providing actionable ways to apply peace into your life. Is that what you have going on there?
Wow, the promo did the job. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
What we did is we kind of reversed engineered it, and we said to ourselves, everybody talks about peace and it means different things to different people. Even when you say the word, they say, oh, it's the opposite of war, which is valid, but that's not what it is to me. And so we came up, we said, hey, wait a minute. What are the things? I mean, you get to be, I've been around the block a few times, and I found the thing I wanted most in my life was to be at peace, and that was my goal. And I thought, hey, look, I have a powerful tool. The electronic paintbrush, as my friend, the artist Tite Baquero refers to it, is today the most powerful tool in the world, more powerful than a gun, a video camera, right? So how do we use this medium for its highest purpose, which, coming from a news background in the early days, was not the best purpose of this medium, let me tell you, especially today, since, there's no real news, there's what you want to hear, and there's advertisers, and there's people making money off of one opinion or the other. But we won't go there, I promise. We just did. So we said, well, what are the things in life that take and rob you of your peace? Well, if you've got cancer, you're not at peace. So health is one of our verticals. If you're broke, you're not at peace. So, prosperity is one of our verticals. If you're in a lousy relationship, you're not at peace. So relationship. And obviously, we all live in a place called the environment, and it's where we all go home to. So that's a big one for us. And we said, okay, then let's give people the resources they need in life to, fix those areas where they're hurting. And we're all hurting somewhere, and sometimes we're hurting in a lot of different places. So let's find a place where we can populate not just the resources that you can go and find things to help, fix these areas of your life, but a place where we can all go, an umbrella, because I think all these things are out there in little pockets, one place or another. You can find all this wisdom. But we really wanted to create a tribe and a culture that, somebody said to me, well, if YouTube had a soul, then it would be PeaceVision. And I love that, so we're really trying to create a place that's for everybody. And PeaceVision is only as good as the people that hang out here. And we've got some amazing, cool people hanging out that are coming from the same place, that want to improve their own lives and improve the planet. So that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, I love that. And so my background, I come from the background of sobriety. And it all lines up with everything you're talking about, because, a lot of people will look at somebody who's struggling with addiction or alcoholism or whatever, and they'll say, oh, well, just stop, and the thing
Nancy
is,
Reagan.
What's that?
It reminds me of Nancy Reagan, but people don't know who she is anymore. But
I know, I do, yeah, but I know what you're saying. But the thing is that what they don't realize is that there's an underlying issue. They're drinking or using or eating or whatever they're doing to cover up the pain inside. And then, I'll tell you where there's a lot of pain on the internet. You turn the internet on, you turn on the TV, any advertisements, commercials, newscasts, whatever it is, it's full of negativity, hate, politics, anger, fear, insecurity, fear. And so I think that what you're doing is just incredible. Like, put peace in that place, shut that stuff off. So you're not.
It's funny. We did a segment with a guy by the name of David Essel, who's a long, this guy's a New York Times bestseller. He's a really cool guy. You should have him on your show one day. We did a whole thing on fear. That's actually one of our very first podcasts. And, fear stops you from living the life that you should be living, right? And what's the opposite address of fear? In my book, it's faith. You can't be in both places at the same time. Either you're living in fear and you got that knot in your stomach and you're worried, or you're living in faith and you go, you know what? I know there's coronavirus out there. I know that a lot of bad things are happening, but I also know that I'm a soul and that, it's all going to be okay. And I'm living in a place of faith.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree with you. Fear and faith cannot exist together. And the other way I've heard that is love, fear and love. And there's an old, I think it's a proverb, and it says, fear knocked on the door, love answered, and nobody was there.
There you go. That's very cool.
Yeah, they can't.
It reminds me of something that happens when people would say, well, I don't believe in God. And I go, okay. Well, do you believe in love? Well, of course I believe in love. Well, then you believe in God, because God is love, right?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the vibe I take from the whole thing anyway.
Yeah, and everybody has their own perception of what that is, and we don't have to go into that because it seems to divide people.
Too late.
Right, yeah.
You broke your own law. You went into religion and politics.
I know. No, what did I do?
See how easy that was to do that to him, folks?
It was.
Sorry, Dennis.
And I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't mean it. John, it's all your fault.
Yeah, I'll take the rap.
So what inspired you to get into this position right now where you're in? Was it failure? Was there your own pain that you went through, or what was it? Besides just the, obvious politics everywhere you look or the negativity, was there a specific thing in your life that brought you here?
I guess there were several, but as I look back, I was really lucky. I grew up in a time of journalism where, you didn't give your opinion, you just reported on the facts. And I worked with a guy by the name of Walter Cronkite and got to make a documentary with him and old school stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, news didn't become about the facts, it became about your opinion. And that somebody smart at a network said, hey, if we tell people what they want to hear, they'll tune into us, and it's about ratings. And then all of a sudden, this objectivity, to me, as a country, as anywhere, if truth goes out the window, think about what that means. It's like, it's what it means is what's happening in our country right now, and everybody's doing this. So I just wanted to find a place where everybody could forget about whether they're blue, red, or indifferent, and come together and celebrate what we have in common, and find a place, like I said earlier, where we can learn and get the resources we need to be at peace. And, as I look back at my career, a lot of the films, the ones that I'm most proud of, are the ones that I did and I call passion projects. Nobody paid me to go do them. I spent 15 years doing a film in Guatemala about a woman who decided to open up a school for these kids that live in the Guatemala dump. And I was blown away by the work that she did. I was blown away by the conditions that people were forced to live in. I'm like, how can this happen on this planet where these kids scavenge for food every day? And I was blown away. And at this particular time in my life, I was very fortunate. I had a pretty high profile gig on a network in South Florida. Everybody knew me. I could go anywhere. I did feature reporting, and I'd seen every sunset. I traveled the world. And, you can only film so many sunsets before you start going, there's got to be more to it. And when I met this woman, I found the more to it part. And then I just kind of went from there and decided to do the things I was most passionate about. And as I look back, those are the films that all fit perfectly aligned with what PeaceVision is all about right now. So I think I was guided without knowing where I was going which is pretty typical of me. But somehow, with faith, it seems to all work out,
Yeah, that's a great story. And that's the whole, if you love what you're doing, then you don't have to really work a day in your life. And when you,
that's a whole nother topic, right? Where people, I think, I always look for the silver lining in things. And I think the silver lining of this whole coronavirus deal is that people are reassessing, hey, do I go back when this is over to that wheel that I was on to make the money to pay the light bill? Or do I try to find a way to live a more authentic life, whatever that is to you, right? And be more real with who you're about and express yourself through your work, through what you do. And for me, ultimately, it's, share the love, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I think that, we're all here for a purpose. And I think most people don't know that. And what the truth is, like, what's going to happen is that you are here for a purpose, and it's a higher purpose. And I don't mean necessarily like some dogmatic God here I'm talking about some bigger purpose, and it's helping somebody, helping other people. And if you don't know what that purpose is, you're going to continue, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, to search for that throughout your life. And, if you're laying in bed in the morning with the covers over your head, afraid to get out of bed and go do that job that keeps the lights on, like you were talking about, right, I don't think you're doing the right thing. You're not.
And unfortunately, unless you take a leap of faith and you really go out there and go beyond your comfort zone, it's a lot easier to stay in bed with the covers over and worry, right? Because that's just the way people are wired. But I think when you look, and that's why I look at other people, that's why I love interviewing people that have done things that have made things happen. Because you go, hey, if this guy could pull it off, he's no different. We can all do it. And you need to believe. You need an inspiration, right? And I find that inspiration in people all the time. And that's why I love to interview people that have done things that are courageous, that have never been done before. A buddy of mine is actually a guest of yours that you had on the past to introduce me to you, Dennis, was the great Bill Boggs. And Bill introduced me to John Lack, who's the guy that invented MTV. And, because that was always like, wow, that was, in my time, was the coolest thing to come along, like, really? There's a channel and it's just music? Really? And what John did, and when he told me about how he came up with it, he said, I saw the problem and I started serving an unserved audience. These kids weren't represented anywhere in culture, especially when they looked at the television set. They weren't seeing themselves. And the programming model was beautiful because I had no production costs because the record labels all produced the videos for free. So, but you hear that story, and I'm just using this as an example of things are possible. You can do it. Everything starts with one thing, an idea. Everything we look around in any room, that started out as an idea. So you have to believe in your ideas. And if you don't believe in your ideas, look at somebody else's and build off of that. So I just proponent of really empowering people to find their inner truth,
Yeah, I love that. And I agree 100%. And sometimes I talk about, because you and I are the type of people that will have that thought or that idea and go after it. And then there's a lot, and we always talk about that because we believe, we did it. We are going after what it is we believe in, and we think everybody should. But then there are some people that aren't meant at risk, because there is risk involved. You might fail, whatever failure is to you, and you might not, hit it big and make the millions. But there are some people that are happy with the security, the paycheck every Friday, the insurance, having people pay for that, and they don't mind sitting in traffic and stuff. I can't do that because a part of me dies a little bit when I'm living that way. But I think that even if it's like not just work, like, if you don't mind being a great employee, and there's a lot of people that are meant to just do that, but then you could do other dreams on the side. It doesn't just have.
Or you can go to work for a company you believe in. Yes. I mean, so we don't all need to be the big risk takers, but I think we all need to be true to ourselves. Whatever that means to you, and be authentic in the way you're living your life. And that, that's a struggle every day for everyone. Myself especially. Waking up and choosing your attitude, right? In life, I find we can't control what happens. We can only control how we react to what happens. And that makes all the difference in the world. You know, there was the guy who I'm a big fan of. Now I'm like drawing a big blank. Wayne Dyer, in one of his last books, he said, you know, I finally got to the point in life where I was having hassles with people and I thought, oh, it's this person, it's that person. And then he goes, I finally realized it was all just based on my attitude to how I reacted. And when I figured out that I had the power to choose my reaction, my life changed. And I think we all have that power to react, you know?
Yeah, I love Wayne Dyer. I got to see him before he died, like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. He was a big inspiration for me too early on. He was the one, when I first got sober, and this happens for a lot of people, you're like, all right, I need to stop drinking. But then you realize after a little while, and you need to stop drinking or whatever it is, your harmful behavior.
Right.
But then you realize that it's not about not drinking. It's about growing up and seeing the world a different way. And that comes from usually pain and suffering when you get that awareness. But he was one of the first inspirational people that I connected with. And he said, which is really common now, a lot of the sayings are because of the internet, but we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And that was the first thing where I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like amazing stuff. And I continued to follow him for a long time because, you know, everybody connects with somebody on some level. But I just love the whole peace vision the whole direction that you're taking this. So what are some of the cool things that you've been doing with this so far?
Let's see. Well, there's a guy that's sitting right over here. In fact, I'm going to do something that's never been done on your show before. Introduce a guest you have no idea is coming. How do you like that? This guy, a little setup. His name is Vik Chhabra. And Vik and I met because there's a problem here in Florida with the water. And this guy took a year off of his life just to try to figure out what's going on. You know, and I was working on a documentary that we're still in the process of. But Vik worked for a company also by the name of Brave, which is a new web browser which protects your identity. And they also have something very unique that's upsetting a lot of industry right now. And it's actually paying you. If you choose to watch an advertisement and you choose it on this browser, they pay you. And they pay you in cryptocurrency. And the guy that knows more about it that I want you to, because it's one of the cool things that we are doing. So Vik, get off your computer and come over here and take over for me, brother. Dennis.
Oh, Lord. I'm just the janitor, Dennis.
How's it going, Vik? How's everything?
It's going. I'm over there hammering, listening to Father John. He's an amazing guy. And I'm truly lucky and blessed to be a part of PeaceVision.
Awesome. Yeah, so I said, what are some of the cool things you're working on? And he said, hold on, I'm going to introduce you to Vik. So what are some of the cool things that you're working on?
Yeah, man. So multiple things are happening, but staying really focused on a couple of big wins for everyone, including some charities and nonprofits. One thing that we're all pumped about here at PeaceVision is the PeaceVision concert series. So my background is in technology, especially advertising technology, like old stuff. And it's time to use that knowledge for good. So we've come across a lot of musicians and this one technology layer called Side Door. If you go to sidedooraccess.com, they allow musicians to play for their audience or to play for a crowd, and the people can go online and buy their ticket, right? And it was developed for like local bars and restaurants and establishments like that. But with COVID, you know, and this huge movement of musicians playing from their basements or from wherever, right? And still, you know, raising money, whether it be for themselves or for nonprofits or charities. So we said, you know, wait a minute, with John's connections, with all of our connections, we're like, we can make a run of this here in Southwest Florida. And, you know, with our connections at Side Door, who have even bigger connections, we kind of want to take that PeaceVision portal and that amplifier, that big microphone that we're building, and allow musicians to come onto this platform, use that technology, and get people to come and pay $10, $5 ticket, whatever it is. And then that money is up to the artist wherever they want to give it. And our first our first musician, our first concert is this Saturday. And our goal is to raise $10,000 for a Harry Chapin food bank here in Southwest Florida, which does a lot of amazing work. So that's one thing we're doing.
Harry Chapin, the Cats in the Cradle and the Silk.
Yes. The Harry Chapin Food Bank has played an instrumental part here in Southwest Florida for decades. They have an amazing history. John knows quite a bit of the history of Harry Chapin. He's done documentaries on them. But yeah, even during Hurricane Irma here in Southwest Florida, it was just amazing to see what they did, how they assembled, and how they fed the community. And we're there now, and musicians are just coming forward saying, how can we help? What can we do? And all we want them to do is just, hey, play. We'll provide the technology. We'll provide the audience. We're going to be your social marketing team. We'll do whatever you need. So that's one project that we're super, super excited about.
That's awesome. Before I interrupted you with the Cats in the Cradle bit, which everybody's happy. I don't sing often on here, which is
yeah.
But what you were going to go someplace else. You were going to say that you have something else going on too.
Yeah. So that's one part of it, right? So my job here at PeaceVision is to kind of disrupt a couple of things, and one is the advertising marketing model. Everything that I wear. Patagonia here, I wear recycled plastic shirts. Everything I do is with a conscience. Every purchase I make. So I want to bring brands into this ecosystem that care, that want to give back. Think of it as like the B Corp mentality. I lived in Vermont with the home of Ben & Jerry's, and watching those guys for decades, with the 1% for the planet. Those are the advertisers that are going to win. When this is all said and done, people are going to look back and say, who did what? Who gave what? That should be everyone's marketing mission. So my job is to find those campaigns and have them live within PeaceVision, and with John's expertise and his network, we can build these commercials to basically show what these corporations are doing and have percentages go to wherever they need to go. So that's another charter. And then last but not least, not to ramble on, I've had lots of kombucha and lots of coffee. The second part of this is, and also I like how you quit drinking. I'm 1 year sober, my man.
Oh, so awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. And you know what else, just real quick as a side note, I lived in Stowe, Vermont for about 10 years.
Oh, no way. I lived in Warren, Waitsfield. I worked at Sugarbush and Mad River Glen.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Vermont's awesome. I think a lot of creative ideas. I think we're going to look back and say, hey, wow, the Vermonters really know what they're doing. Not talking about politics, but just about sustainable farming and co-ops and community. It still exists in that part of New England.
It really does. And another thing that's really great that I love that you said and is kind of prevalent up there is that, what I do also is marketing. And that's part of the reason the world is sick is because of marketing. And Absolutely. It kind of went that way. And John was just talking about it. How, a while ago, it shifted from the truth to how can we make more money. And it's funny. I had another guest on here last month, and his name is Dr. Gerald Goldhaber. And he was instrumental and he was a CNN correspondent, and he was instrumental in creating safety labels, warning labels for products, not just food products, but food products and all different kinds of chemicals and everything like that. Yeah. And what sells is like fear.
Yeah.
And fear of not being able to survive well, like living the way you're living. You need this product to survive. What you just said is awesome. I mean, it's like finding ways to be sustainable, finding ways to help the environment, finding ways to help other people. That's ultimately in the end is what's going to work out.
Totally agree. And I was listening, you're absolutely right. And I was listening to John earlier, and he coined the phrase, I don't know if it's original or not, but it is to me because it's the first time I hear it from John, is that capitalism with a conscience is missing. And, I cringe every time I see someone drink a sports drink or shop at McDonald's or, they don't need to do that. We can take a step back, and it's the machine, right? We're all up against this system. And it's the people, I don't like to say the people that are awake, but the people that are understanding what's happening and how the marketing machine has come in and invaded our lives through technology, right? So a good portion of my life was in advertising technology, and big tech, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're pushing subliminal messages at you. They're listening to our conversations. If you have a Nest camera, your Android television, they're serving you. We live in the Matrix. This is a thing. This isn't a conspiracy. I know too much about it. So yeah, man, you're absolutely right. We need to change the engine. We have to swap out the engine and slowly get people to understand that every purchase you make is all about, the next generation. If you buy something that's made of plastic, where is that going to go? We have to ask those questions. And that's what I love about PeaceVision is that we're coming center. There's left, there's right, and then there's common sense. And that's been missing. So and I don't want to take up too much more of this time, but the last piece of this is that where I came from, the last position that I had, I'm free now with PeaceVision. I love it. But I still love this company. It's Brave Software. If you go to brave.com, we'll send you all the links and stuff like this. But the founder and CEO of Mozilla Firefox developed this browser. It was launched in 2016, but it's go time for them. But they're stripping out big tech because they know what's invasive. It's a privacy-based browser, so they don't know what's going on. You can engage. It's a lot faster than Chrome or Safari or Firefox. But the component that I like most about Brave, that I still like, is that you have the ability to give. You earn tokens, and you can cash out for an Amazon gift card or whatever. But the system that I want to live in is that you give to creators, you can give it to content creators, bloggers, or you can give it to nonprofit charities. So that's the other mission that I'm going down, is to get more people to use the Brave platform and to understand that, one, is protecting your data, protecting your privacy. And then the secondly is you can literally have that, well, it's a basic attention token, but Andrew Yang was talking about, and again, not to get political, but he was talking about the basic universal income. It actually already exists. It's not, you can literally pay your cable bill with money that you get just from spending online. It's a light system of what he was preaching. That system already exists, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so cool to listen to you guys, and that you're using your talents, your connections, and your technology for good. When you were talking about like this big, huge machine, and everything's run by money, politics, money, really. But it's like, if you think we're hurting now and we have all this debt and the world's in crisis now, you take out Coca-Cola and McDonald's and some of these like big, huge players, we're going to be in huge
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's funny you bring up, all of our passions and our talents. And it's because of John that we're all kind of honing in like, wait a minute, I can be used for more. And I'm of the same philosophy that we're all here for a reason. We're all clicking right now to say, wait a minute, it's not about my bank account. If I put passion first, I will be taken care of. I know that, but it's time to align. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And we don't expect people to stop shopping at Walmart or stop going to McDonald's. But just the simple thing of waking up McDonald's and say, hey, these Happy Meals that you're handing out to children, that little plastic toy that's in that, no child is playing with that. You could easily put in a pine cone with a little packet of peanut butter and some seeds and create a bird feeder. Like, that could be a thing. So we have to have corporate America to rethink how kids think, how kids consume. So I could go on for hours. I want to get this back over to John. But yeah, man, PeaceVision is truly, truly what is missing from the world. We know that peace is missing from the world. We know that anxiety is setting in, and the world just needs to know that there's people like this team. We have to build one tribe. It's no longer left versus right. It's one tribe in the end. So
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it. I just love the idea that, I think that coronavirus, I think that, we were just talking about God or the universe or whatever power, whatever that is. I think I think that the world got too big, too powerful, too fast, and we forgot how to love each other and take care of each other. And I think that this is the universe or God's way of saying, you know what, you guys are going to slow down for a little bit and learn how to take care of each other again, because you lost focus of what's really what this is supposed to be about. Yeah. And so we're going to slow it down for a little bit. And I think that some of that is happening. The real test is going to be, how long does it last? Is it going to be like 9/11 when a few thousand people died and everybody came together for what? A few months?
We went right back to war.
We went right back to war. We went right back to traffic and worrying about me and making money. And I don't know. How long is this going to last? I hope it goes on. What you're doing, it might last a little longer.
I think there's a major awakening happening. You are nailing it when we all believe this. We all have an environmental background. We've all been activists or filmmakers or whatever. We all knew this was going to happen. We know that our system is on stilts and it's crumbling. And we know that through God and through the planet that we needed to hit that pause button. We're all supposed to rest. The land is supposed to rest. The water is supposed to rest. Animals are supposed to rest. And with factory farm, everything that we're doing is pure chaos. So someone hit that pause button, and it doesn't matter what you think, how it happened, and it happened for a reason, and everything happens for a reason. So we have to take back and look within to find that peace and find our way out of it, whether it be gardening, teach your kids to fall in love with the earth again. It's time. It's time. And yes, people will move on. People will go back to their way of life. But I guarantee you at some point, everyone finds God at a different point in life. And millions are finding it right now. And like you said, some people call it the universe, some people do whatever. But right now, people are questioning their lifestyle. And they're spending more time with families. I'm playing board games with my son and my wife, and my mom staying with me. It's back to basics. And that's the key here.
Yeah.
I want to turn it back over to John, though. This is the John show, man.
Well, it was
No, but Brave.com, pretty badass.
We'll have another episode, and it'll be you and I.
Yeah, man. And like John said, all of his, like, it's time that the influencers really kind of collaborate,
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
Cheers, Dennis.
So that's the shy Vic. He's got to come out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, I love it. Well,
he's amazing, right? What a great guy.
Oh man, he was spot on and just so full of energy, and you could tell he was real passionate about it.
So when I come to this office and I'm, around that energy, how could you not have a good day, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're only successful as your team, and so you clearly have a solid team over there.
It was kind of easy to get people smarter than me, so I kind of had it made there.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things I wanted to touch on, because it was like everything that we were just talking about, what he just said was awesome. It's like, instead of putting the little toy in the Happy Meal, how about a pine cone and some seeds or something like that? But
Right.
What came to my mind was that education. It's like not just saying, oh, this needs to change, but providing a platform like you're doing, and what I'm trying to do is, well, I think we have similar goals here, is like give you a way, give you a direction, give you some ideas of how to change. Not just, oh, you need to change because this is all screwed up. How can we change? How can we be better? How can we be more helpful and loving towards each other and help the world be a better place?
I heard the term radical collaboration recently. And in our culture, especially in a business culture, it's always, if we win, the other guy loses, You can't win and me win too. That's not possible, But the new thinking is, no, we both have to win. It's the only way it's going to work. And so instead of looking at people as potential, competition, it's a collaborator. It's an opportunity for, like us, meaning you and I, to be able to amplify each other's mission. And if you keep doing that, it's quantum physics, right? And then you can make some really impressive change.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I love the PeaceVision idea. What's your next project here? It's probably, you're a little limited because we're all isolated or quarantined right now.
Well, that's true, but I'm just wrapping up a film I did in Cuba called Cuba Reframed. And we took a tall ship and we sailed it from Key West to Havana and to Hemingway Harbor. And on board were 12 artists, and they all brought different things to Cuba. One was a painter by the name of Paul Arsenault, and another couple was there, and they taught people how to, it was a professional kiteboarder, and he brought a kite, and they don't have that in Cuba. And everybody kind of brought their own thing and shared and had this thing. And right in the middle of it all, those trips were outlawed. The administration decided no more cultural, so it was kind of a shame, but it was a really cool film. And it was a film about understanding the other guy and coming together and, celebrating what we have in common. So I'm in the middle of editing that film, Cuba Reframed. You'll see it on PBS and you'll see it on PeaceVision. And then there's another film I'm in the middle of that we took almost 15 years to make. And I'll tell you more about that on your next episode.
No, that's awesome. Again, we're talking with John Biffar, and he is the creator of PeaceVision. So if somebody wants to tune into PeaceVision, how do they go about doing that? Or contact?
Just go online, peacevision.com, and you'll see us there. We are pretty active on all of the social media outlets. So, YouTube, and we have a channel, and Facebook, we have a channel, and Twitter. And, it's funny because as I was young, I literally grew up on television from the time I was like 20, whatever it was, when I took a job as a reporter. And when I kind of went off the air, I never went on to social media ever until yesterday when we launched PeaceVision. So I never had a Facebook page. I never did any of that stuff, right? So it's kind of funny, And now I have all these people that I'm surrounded by that are gurus and how you market yourself socially. But I just like when I got off the air, I had enough of all of that, And now I'm like, hey, this is worth going back out there and sticking your face out there again. Because not for me, but for a cause for all of us.
Yeah, for doing good. And it's really cool. A couple years ago, I took a break from Facebook because I got tired of hearing all the politics and the stupid crap about people complaining about things that aren't really complain worthy. They just like to complain. And so I took a break, and then what I realized was like, you use things the way you want them, and you get out of it what you put into it. And so if you're putting the negativity, the complaining, the fear, the anger, the politics, and the other crap, then that's where you're going to get out of it.
Kind of like life, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's who you're connected to and who you're paying attention to.
What your focus is.
Yes, exactly. What you focus on increases. So I went back on, and I was like, the people, including some family members that are focused on politics and hate and anger, I don't follow them anymore. I unfollowed them.
Yeah, you know, the question to them would be, how's that working for you?
Yeah. Yeah. And you carry that, because the problem is, it's like, if you want to be angry like that and feel those feelings within you, that's fine. But what happens is you leave the house and then you take that out in the car with you. And if somebody cuts you off, you're giving somebody the finger while you're driving, you carry that anger out into the world. And so it's like, you know, are you angry about politics? Stop watching politics.
And unfortunately, the world is a captive audience, you know, and there's, you know, and it is what it is. So it really takes kind of an evolved soul to move beyond all that. But it's time we all become more evolved, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. Well said. So, this has been awesome. And
thank you so much for having me on, and let's do it again. And we'll have to have you over at PeaceVision and do a podcast with us as well.
Yeah, I look forward to that. So, anything else you wanted to throw in there for a plug for PeaceVision?
No, I wanted to plug Bill Boggs. He's got a new book. He's the guy that brought us together, right? It's politically incorrect, so it's may not be available here, but it is called Spike the Wonder Dog, and it's coming out next month. So there you go, Bill. We got your plug in.
The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, as told to Bill Boggs.
Oh, thank you. That's right.
Right. Yeah, he's
a page turner, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much, John and Vic in the background there. I appreciate you coming on and talking with me, and I look forward to going on there. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And I hope you'll tune into PeaceVision and check that out as well. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great day today.
Awesome. That was a lot of fun. Take care.